A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Innovation Thursday, Digital Platforms webinar brought to you by IMDA's OIP team. The time check now is about 2:04. We're still waiting for some of our friends to join us. Welcome once again to the Innovation Thursday, Digital Platforms webinar brought to you by IMDA's OIP team, the Open Innovation Platform team. Okay, we're going to just wait maybe a couple of seconds more for more of our friends to join us after a very lovely lunch, I think. We're all ready to kickstart today's very exciting seminar. It's going to have a sharing by a couple of companies who are presenting problems that they are hosting on the Open Innovation Platform, looking for tech solvers to propose very innovative solutions so that we can bring the technology and the business to a whole new level. And we're going to open today with a very special sharing by two expert practitioners from Thinkplace Consultancy. So it's going to be a very exciting afternoon. I'm just going to wait a while more to see whether any more friends are coming in right now, because I don't want them to miss all the highlights of today's Innovation Thursday webinar. Okay, and I think I've seen more friends are joining us right now, so I think we're almost ready to kickstart. Once again, everybody, welcome. I hope you all had a great lunch and full of energy for today's Innovation Thursday webinar, focusing on digital platforms. My name is Billy. I'm from the IMDA OIP team, and I'm really happy to be your MC for today. This is, of course, the sixth webinar under the Innovation Call 10 of OIP. And today we're going to be covering a wide range of real-world challenges, right? All the way from integrating tech into the next generation of confectionery toys, and all the way to transforming the online fashion business. And along the way, you can also look at how you can create a very interesting AI-powered mobile apps for Huawei as well. Now, before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone, if you're here for the first time, right, we do take questions for every presenter, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of every presentation, about 5 minutes for every presenter. So we'll do our very best to answer your questions. And I guess the question that all our newbies have will be, how do I ask the question? Very good question, and here's my answer. What you need to do is just key in the question into the Q&A chat box of Zoom, all right? So there's a tool at the bottom of the screen. You can key in your question for the presenter. So we're going to move on to our very first event. Our very first presentation of today is going to be a very special sharing session by Mr. Bill Banier and Mr. Charles Black from Thinkplace. Hi, Bill. Hi, Charles. I see you guys on screen. So allow me to just give a quick intro to Thinkplace. It's a consultancy, I believe, that provides advice to our OIP companies. So I understand that Thinkplace actually provides our problem solver companies, right, with user-centric advice on how they can better, refine their challenge. And also, Thinkplace also provides advice to our tech solvers, right, to help them create a more user-friendly and robust prototype. Okay, so just a quick intro to our two speakers from Thinkplace today. Mr. Bill Banier is the Managing Director of Thinkplace Singapore, and Mr. Charles Black is an experienced digital transformation advisor. And today, they're going to share advice on how to create a very engaging, how to fully engage the users of your digital platform. So Bill and Charles, I invite you to take the stage right now. Over to you.
Okay, thanks very much, Billy, and great name. So I might just start with a bit of context around, why are we talking to you today? So we're one of the facilitators on the Open Innovation platform, and so we've worked with probably 50 or 60 businesses in the last 2 or 3 years to help them do that initial problem framing and find the right partner, and then a bit of sort of project-based coaching to support the development of the prototypes. And as always, we're trying to make sure that what you're creating has some real value for you and for the market and for your customers. And we kind of play a bit of an interpretation role between business and technology, so that for the business people, they can really understand what it is they're trying to do, if they don't already, and then put that in terms that the technology crew can understand, so that you can create a good relationship. I think that's probably what Charles is going to talk to you a little bit today around platform engagement, because a number of the problems that we're hearing about today are sort of platform in nature. So I'll leave that to him to talk about. I'm sad to say that platforms are probably one of his passions in life, so he can do a bit of sharing about that. But I think what I'd like to say just up front, having seen matches done on the OIP is that it's actually about forming a relationship just as much as it is about finding the right solution for a problem. So even though it's a matchmaking thing, it's much more than matchmaking. It's about finding a trusted partnership, because it's not a transactional thing. As a business, when you've got a thing that you're trying to achieve, and as a technologist sort of coming in to do that, it has to be a partnership for it to work well. And you probably all know that, but I guess it's something I wanted to say up front, because when you're creating a platform, you're really trying to create something together, and it may mean changes to the business model in the process. And so you're reliant on the business side really understanding their market and what they're trying to do, just as much as the technology person being able to enable that, and they have to come together to make it work. So both of you have to contribute towards the eventual success of where you get to. I think just in terms of platforms, and some of the problems we're looking at today, some of them are kind of a true platform in that it's a place where other people come to create value, and you're offering a platform for people to generate value on. Whereas others are more like a kind of digital platform in that it's more like a one-stop shop where people come to get value. So we kind of have both of those forms in the problems that we're seeing today. That's enough from me. Charles, I'll hand over to you to talk about your passion in life, platforms.
Thank you very much, Bill. It's a real pleasure to be talking with you all here today. I'll just share my screen. Bill mentioned that I've got a real passion for digital platforms. And fortunately, I have been in many of your shoes before. So I have been a problem solver that went through, was initially awarded a $25,000 grant to develop a MVP, a minimal viable product. And we scaled that out right out to Series A funding that saw global launch of a digital platform. Where people came to purchase bicycle trips. So think of Airbnb for bicycle trips, tours and activities. So it was a digital platform. And what I thought I'd do today is share with you some of my insights that I gained through that journey in terms of what I would either do again or what I would strengthen that I was doing as I went through that process. Just having some technical challenges here. Okay, so the first, starting off point is, as a platform creator, I think as Bill has suggested that, it is to be expected that you know really good tech. You know how to deliver, to produce, to envision fantastic technology. And you probably have a really good idea about how to produce beautiful, engaging digital experiences for your customers. Or if you don't know, you know how to get that access to that information. But the core focus really is, okay, so what sets you apart? How do you become like this beautiful black sheep here? And how do you set yourselves out from the crowd? What do you do? So these are my experiences, and what I've done for you today is to take some of the innovation challenges that are being put forward by the companies such as Huawei here. And I went through the business cases and their requests and pulled out some quotes from them that I think are really important for you in terms of things that I would be looking at. So the first one is, worry less about the technology and more about the business model. And I say that because you probably will be worrying so much about the technology that you may not have enough time to really worry about the business model. I assume, and we all assume, that you're really, really good at what you need to do from a technology perspective. But the real value that the company is looking for you is not just that you can provide innovative, groundbreaking technology, but you really understand how that technology can assist it to either acquire more customers, increase and improve productivity, access new markets. And Huawei, is a really good definition of that. Some of their words there are really powerful. The ability to empower consumers to navigate everyday life easily and digitally. So what they're giving you there is a really clear understanding, about what they're looking for in terms of overall effect. How can your technology bring digital enablement to their customers, be that in their home or into their organization? How can you help them to be fully connected? And it's not just good enough to say, well, here's a technology that does that. What you've got to say is, here's a technology that does that. And this is specifically how it's going to create value for your customers and help, Huawei to understand the value that is being created. So, it's not just about doing it, it's about showing it. So that's one of the first, the first lessons there. Okay, the second is, and this is coming through from many of the problem providers, is to help to create and grow a community. So for many digital platforms, actually creating the platform, is probably the easy part of the job. And I know many of you will be gasping at that thought because it can be challenging. But really getting a platform or a technical solution, my experience is that, that can be done. We started off with a $49.99 a month digital platform, digital marketplace through a company called Share Tribe, which was a PaaS offering. We developed that as a minimal viable product, and then we invested into it over time. And what we learned pretty quickly was that we could add functionality and capability to that platform. But ultimately, what really mattered was the community that we were fostering or building on that platform. And that just wasn't about the technology. It was about how could we encourage people to share their stories and experiences. So, a good example with our platform was that we built into it the ability to auto-link into Twitter and to other social media feeds, live streams of information and photos that consumers using the platform took, so that they could then share, their stories out into Twitter and different platforms. And in the same sort of sense, if you look at what F&N are looking for, they've been really clear here. Their words there: a solution could allow users to engage with other like-minded individuals, to form interest groups, and to organise events. So that gives you a hint of what F&N are looking for. They need technology and they need solutions, but ultimately those are not the end in themselves. Those are the things that foster collaboration and communication between people, because the way that many products are sold is through referrals. So if you can help them to create a community where you can either get viral uptake of messages or information or stories about your product, you're going to really significantly help in F&N's ability to sell and position its products. Third one is really kind of interesting, is around the insights around the health of the business. So many digital platforms are simply about exchanging value from one participant to another participant. And both of those parties have got to get value from that exchange. If it's just a one-way exchange, they probably won't get value. So when you're thinking about your products, make sure, and your solutions, make sure that you think about, how am I going to get information that's been created, or value that's been created between the different participants on the platform, and how am I going to help my end customer, in this case MarketBridge, to capitalise on that information. So MarketBridge have been really, really specific in terms of what their requirements are. They're looking for data analytics, business intelligence, real-time analysis of customer needs, and they've been very specific in terms of the areas that they'd like you to look at. But the important thing is regardless of your technology solution, how are you using advanced machine learning, artificial intelligence, and other areas to surface up those emerging and real-time insights on either customer needs or on the health of the overall product. Okay, another good example, and this is really repeated by F&N's request, that what they're looking for is flexible, fully integrated platform that helps people to connect the dots across their channels more easily. So their channels being the various digital platforms that they've got, physical channels, printed channels, etc. So how are you helping them to understand what is happening across the ecosystem of all of their different platforms? What sort of insights can you provide them about where value is being created and where value is leaking in terms of the relationships that they have with their customers? And one of the key things that that many customers are looking for, and looking for firms such as yourselves to go that extra step, is to look at what are the new modes or sales models or channels that are out there. You've given them a technology solution that's providing them information. Extend that further. What are the insights about new markets, new demographics that can start to either consume the product or to make better use of the services that are provided? Okay, the fifth one is obviously true for almost any product, be it a physical product or be it a services product, and it's all around trust. Most sales, are trust-based. Yes, there's a value for money equation, but many sales, as we all know, are based on trust. So when you tie that into cybersecurity issues and the issues around security, how is your technology solution building trust between individuals who are using the product, but also how is it building trust and in terms of providing a base level of security? So Huawei have been really clear in terms of what their requirements are. And I really like their wording here. It's to create a vibrant mobile ecosystem that is socially conscious by purposely adding onto its suites of applications. Build trust in the industry via technology, innovative yet socially impactful app. So this really cuts at the core issue of trust. And my focus question back to all of the participants here today is, when you are delivering your product, how are you providing trust and improving trust by the people who are using it? And then how are you assuring, the security and the back-end security? Now, obviously, a large company like Huawei has got all of those technical, insights around, protecting security. But the key point is there that you look at your product and you open up your architecture and you open up how you plan to work and work within their patterns to make sure it's really clear around the security posture of your product. Okay, moving forward. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but I think it's really worthwhile really fleshing this out. In almost all technology solutions at the moment, I think it's almost a given now that there is, advanced machine learning, using NLP, other techniques that help to surface, existing or emerging, customer insights or customer needs. And Joe Kilder, fashion brand, fantastic example of this. What they're looking for is not just a presentation, of the product, but how can your technology provide a curated, one-on-one, customized, fashion show? And it's a really powerful, emerging trend that is starting to gain a lot of traction in that you're starting to collect data from all across an individual's ecosystem. So they may have a Twitter account, a Facebook account, all sorts of different media profiles. They may well have a Joe Kilder history of transactions or purchases. They may subscribe to different magazines or to different styles. So how do you get all of that information together and not just provide a generic view of what the products are, but try to really narrow down and seek to get a one-on-one matching for each individual customer about the things that could well interest them. So this is, it's certainly an emerging area, but I think it's an area that all of the certainly the use cases that I've read today by the problem solvers are looking for you, to go that next step and to look at how can you provide, customized insights. So finally, one of the early lessons I learned, and then one of the very last lessons I learned, is that it's not just about claiming what you can do and saying why your product is so awesome or your technology is so good, but it's actually about proving it. And one of the best way that I found for founders to prove their claim is to make sure right up the front and right at the start, you start to have, basic dashboards that provide evidence either of either of your ability to actually start to show results, or your preparedness to make decisions based on fact. So start to look at, the numbers that we know all of the customers and problem providers will be looking for, monthly active users, bounce rate, time spent on site, gross merchandise volume, customer acquisition costs, customer lifetime value. Even if your product is not quite at that level, what I would love to see you do is to look at those measures, understand those measures, and if it's Huawei or MarketBridge or Joe Kilda or FNN, try and work through from the published material what their current platform, their current results are. What are FNN's number of monthly active users? And then think about your product and think about how could you impact the number of monthly active users? How could your product and some of the benefits of it improve, the time spent on Joe Kilda's site? How can your product enhance Huawei's Net Promoter Score? And I think that the good thing is that it's not about having a perfect answer. That's ideally the best. But the best thing about this is demonstrate to problem solvers that you're keen, you're willing, and you're able to have this business-based discussion, as well as providing what we know you already have, which is the world's best technology. So thank you for your time, and happy to answer any questions you've got.
Thank you very much, Charles. Bill, do you have anything else to add to Charles' very, very interesting presentation?
I think there's been plenty there, and we're probably out of time, so I'll hand back to you, Billy.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Charles and Bill, for a very exciting presentation and very practical advice for our community of tech solvers. Thank you very much.